I'm the boss. Heh. I'm pulling rank on you. I'm letting him chop and do all this crazy shit, but I need to drill this hole. Holy moly, dude.
Hey guys, Dominic over at Hockman Fab. Today, I'm gonna have you tune in to this 1G DSM that I just got finished building the cage for. We also did just get done installing the window net and the steering shaft, along with the bracketry that goes with the steering to allow it to hold the steering wheel in place. This thing is a beauty. I love it, the customer loves it, we all love it. I hope you guys love it. But now we're actually gonna chop off the front end of this thing and start getting into making the tube front end so like that we can get all the goods inside of this thing. Once everything is, chopped off, I'll start be able to plate up the frames here, and once I get them plated, then I'll start be able to bend the tube to get it in for the tube front end. There's gonna be a lot that goes into this, a lot of cutting, a lot of removing, and a lot of replacing. So I'm very excited to start this. I'm also excited that I finished the cage. That is one big thing that was a part of this whole thing that started this. So we're gonna dive right into it. So right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to judge my cuts in a very precise manner because I don't want to take away too much material, but I want to leave, just enough that there's still a structure for this fender to sit here and has something to follow. So what I'm doing is I'm basically making some marks here, allowing to keep the face of this in place. This staying in place will allow the fender to still bolt up here, but with removing the face of this, I may have to take out some of this under part here and kind of cut it across. So I may want to do something like this to still, kind of leave something attached to it. But then, what comes into play is from cutting on the backside to actually remove this portion is, where do I cut here in order to get that to leave there? So I have to kind of play a very good judgment on my cutting skills and what actually I need to remove and what can stay. But man, this is a little tricky. It is tricky, but I love it, and we're gonna get it done the right way. So, but this is why we mark twice and make sure we do everything in a very precise manner, and then we go about cutting. Because whatever you take away, sometimes you can't put back. It's very hard. So, on that note, with this side kind of marked out the way I want it from here to here, and keeping this, which means I'm not going to eventually be able to cut here, because if I cut here, it'll remove this, because what my plan is to cut that across the top. So what I can do is I can section that out and leave a portion of this, because a portion of this is still connected, and I can kind of just make my cut on the other side the same way, where it leaves that lip at the top. And then I'll just kind of angle my cut down this way and come back up this way and leave a little bit more material there so that this fender still has a nice line to it. But the other thing is you also don't want sharp edges. If something's sharp underneath there and you try to go to grab for something, you're going to cut yourself. So that's something we want to avoid too. So if I leave it there and it becomes too sharp and it doesn't look right, it's just better to kind of get rid of it, and we'll make a different adjustment later on. And I always like to take a step back and look at my markings and make sure, everything that I marked looks the same, which is why I mark in silver, because it's super bright and I can see it, especially shined on by a light. Makes it really, really easy.
All right, so we've got a 2024 Mustang here, and the customer wanted to go with a set of burnt bronze style tips in order to match their wheels over here. So we got those sent out and coated, and these type of tips are actually integrated in the bumper itself. It serves as sort of a heat shield around the actual tips off of the muffler. So when it was first brought in and we tried to mock up the fitment of this bumper, it did not fit properly with the tips. So we had to modify the tips themselves off of the mufflers and allow it to sit within the space and not run into the potential of hitting it and rattling or anything of that nature. After it's been used quite a bit and they drive it on the road, you really won't see the inner tip that much. But with some of the newer age cars, like the R8 and some of the other supercars, and honestly, just the average Audis even now are coming with tips like this. So that's what we're doing on this vehicle as far as the rear end is concerned. In addition to that, on the front end right now, what we're doing is working on pulling off the front bumper because they have requested that we install a tow hook on the front here. And this vehicle does not have a receiving hitch in the front for the tow hook, so we're going to be installing a wedge bracket that came with it in order to make that work. And then just doing some other various services like an oil change and replacing the filters. Most people don't know that we do maintenance and repair in addition to all the custom work that we do in-house. So if you ever have a vehicle, whether it be your daily driver or your project car that needs repair or maintenance work, we're happy to service it here for you. So here we have the 1981 Trans Am LS Swap Twin Turbo project. We're in the process of working on building the custom twin turbo kit for it. And at the moment, we're working on a combination of both intercooler piping and hot piping for the turbo kit, because everything has to mesh and work seamlessly together, and there's limited space here. Most times when you're working on muscle car under the hood, there's quite a bit of space, but when you start cramming in turbo kits and manifolds and intercooler piping, it gets a little cramped. So we're working on those so that they can work together in harmony, and you'll be able to see some more of that in the development here in the near future. This is actually one of the up pipe, hot pipes that comes off of the turbo over here, and you can get a little bit of visibility under there on how it's coming down off of the manifold and working its way up into the fender well so that we can get that tube to the bottom of the turbine housing and maximize front space for the rest of the intercooler piping that needs to live there. And then we've got our 1969 Camaro customer project that is in the final stages. Let me turn this down. In the final stages of getting wrapped up. It's going to be heading over to the upholstery shop directly after leaving here. If you take a look on the interior, you'll see the custom interior that's coming together on it. We're just at the stage of putting in the rear seats at the moment. It's got a custom center console, custom door panels, it's going to get a custom headliner. This thing is running digital dashes with a couple of custom panels on the dash itself, full custom wiring harness. Everything on this thing is custom resto mod. And I'm the boss. Heh. I'm pulling rank on you. I'm letting him chop and do all this crazy shit, but I need to drill this hole. So, this customer on this 2024 Mustang wants a tow hook similar to what we have on our Porsche. And I'll give you a little visual on what we're trying to achieve. Now, we're probably not going to be able to set it up exactly like this because it's a different company and a different designed hook, but we want a really clean hole around where the hook goes. Well, what I'll do is the stem or stud section of the tow hook is inside of there, but when the cover's off, we'll build this sort of template around where the face of that stud is. So you want to build this template while the cover's still off and then flap it upward and then put the cover back on and then drill your hole. But the way Jay has got it done is He's marked it with a marker, and it's very faint, but you can see it. Mark this area here accordingly, and this is now our target area. And of course, the kit that I grabbed to do this job is all the way over there. That should work out nicely. Just need to holy moly, dude. Gotta get those customer and Instagram shots all in one. I was like, no. Boom. I don't think you could have gotten any tighter than that. It's like almost impossible to capture in a picture how clean this install is, but you'll get a chance to see it in person. Like the hole itself is just dead on. So, boom. Keep a customer happy. Yes, sir. Like, be careful because it'll drift a lot further than you anticipate. Go slow. No brakes.